Alrighty, we're live. Peace and love, beautiful people, beautiful gods of the earth. So basically, this is the beginning. This is the introduction. This is the first take of a series that I want to do. I'm interviewing dope souls, people that I know, people that I've crossed paths with, and using basically my platform or this as a platform to share information, share truth, share history, so it's about just kind of sharing my culture and ultimately what I represent based off the different people that I've worked with or the different people that I've crossed paths with and connected with. And so with this particular live, I will figure I'll start off with one of the people that I've known the most in my life, as far as just one of the oldest people or the longest friendship connection that I have and still have, that's still rocking. And this would be my elder. Peace, sis. This would be one of my elders, or at this point, my mentor in the dance world, but also in the how do I want to say my mentor just in life. It's interesting because he actually, I see him as a living legend. He was able to cross paths with someone who I would like him to speak on, himself. And we'll kind of kick the ball off there. But ultimately, I'm gonna start and kind of, I guess, how we met. That's how I eat my oatmeal. Why is this acting funny? I wonder if it's letting me. There. So yeah, trying to let you sign in, but it's not letting me. There go them technical difficulties. Let me see. Let's try. Says you're unable to join. Let's try again. I don't know why it say that. Peace and love, y'all. People checking in. There we
Okay.
go. We here.
Okay.
We here.
Yeah,
I
what's going on,
learned.
bro?
One thing I learned is you gotta stay resilient, man. Sometimes stuff don't work the first time, second time. Try it out the third time, fourth time. Just don't give up.
Yeah, I went to I had well, I didn't have the camera set up on my phone. This is the first time that I've done this, but it's
Oh,
okay.
How you feeling today?
I'm good, man. I'm waiting on my truck to get ready, man. So I'm here.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm up here in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, for the people who this is their first time seeing you, hearing of you, what's introduce yourself, or how do you want to introduce yourself? To
Hey,
this crowd.
I am who I am, man.
Indeed,
I am who
indeed.
I am. Well, I don't know what you said earlier, so I guess they'll know who I am by how I respond to whatever questions that you got or whatever our discussion gonna be.
So for sure. So I know him, or I've known him when I first met him as Papa Doc. And would you say that's your dance? That was your dance name, or that's your dance name, or what alias is that?
Yeah, that's Papa Doc is from being a doctor of pop.
Doctor
So with
of Pop.
a pop style dance, and so
Hmm.
within popping, it's like 30 different styles. What they call like the Cobra, Snake, Fillmore, Strutting. All of them are within the popping category. So having somewhat of a foundation in all those styles, it's like being a doctor of pop style dance. That's where Papa Doc come from, a doctor of pop style dance. Yeah.
So with that being said, how long you been popping, or how long you been dancing?
um, whew, man, that's gonna make me reveal my age. But what happened is that, of course, I was dancing since the probably late '70s, and I stopped dancing somewhere like around '86. I was up in VA at that time, Virginia, and the dance was kind of fading out. So I hadn't danced anymore up until around 2005 or 2005 when I came across. I came here in Atlanta back in 1993,
Hmm.
and then I found the underground movement of the whole pop dance. I didn't know people were still popping, and I came across, you know, um, my boy Mickey Mouse, rest in peace, and Mike Watson. That was around 2005, and
Let
that's what got me back into dance. And so up until 2005, I hadn't popped since 1986. So I was
now,
go ahead.
beautiful. So the funny thing is, I just have to share my little, because the fact that you mentioned Mickey Mouse, you feel me, and Mike Watson,
Yeah,
um, but specifically Mickey Mouse, like when I say I was like 8, 9, when I ran into Jason, feel me,
yeah,
Jason Kroom,
yeah.
and pulled in, and they had their little sessions and stuff.
That's right.
I remember being like amazed at Mickey Mouse. You feel me? How his feet. He was the first person in person to really inspire me. You feel me? And so seeing how on the other end he was one of the ones that inspired you too, as and I say respectfully as an elder, just because you are older. Not saying that
Right.
for whatever reason, but just as an elder. So uh, that's pretty dope. Little side note. So rest in peace, Mickey Mouse. Feel me? One of our legends as far as in as far as the Atlanta street dance culture.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
I would
I
love
was
to.
I was down. Yeah, I was downtown Atlanta. I was sharing a spot. I had a music booth with a
Mm,
friend of mine. We did a partnership, and of course, I was doing the old school music and R&B, and his side of the store sold mixed CDs and the rap music.
mm,
And of course, by me playing the old school music, I remember playing like Egyptian Lover and Planet Rock. And
mm-hmm.
like I said, Mickey Mouse and Mike Watson came through. And I saw Mickey, he started gliding and everything. Believe it or not, I thought the boy had rollers, wheels up under his shoes. That's how smooth
Yeah,
that nigga was. He was sliding across uneven concrete, the brick
facts.
concrete out there. And then all of a sudden, then Mike Watson, he started, popping or what we call it like animation popping and stuff like that. And I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
he doing that thing like we used to do back in the day.
Mm,
And so after he finished dancing, I started talking to them and hanging out with him. He told me they would meet like Friday at the Underground. And then from there, that led me out to what you were speaking about, Jason Kroon's studio. And
yeah.
uh, and Jason Kroon was inspired a lot by Mike Watson too, because he'll kind of play around with the tut movements and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And and then me and Mike Watson, we hooked up and we went to, I know it was 2005 when I just started back dancing, because we went to the Best of the Best that was in Kansas City. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and we went down there, and that's when I met, Papa Pete, Skeeter Rabbit, may he rest in peace, and Sugar Pop and all of them. They were the judges for a battle that was going on there. Hilton and
Right.
Boss, it's a lot of the Go-Go Brothers. There was a lot of people that was down there from
Mm,
back in the day, and this is 2005. Yeah.
indeed. And just so for those to fill people in, because I do also see myself as an educator. When we talking about certain names that that we're mentioning are really like originators of styles. You feel me? When it comes to Skeeter Rabbit, rest in peace, the Poppin' Scott. I mean, I Poppin' Pete.
Yeah.
Feel me? My bad on that. We
Yeah, Papa
talking
Scott.
about the originators of the boogaloo of the poppin' style.
Right.
You feel me? We talking decades of development and mastery. You feel me? And we talking about the roots. The roots of what we see now.
Right.
So we breezing by this, but this is like how they be talking about next level conversations and high level This is like on some. This is historical conversation. So even I plan to tap in with Jason. I plan to tap in with Mike. You feel me? To get a interview type setting with them, just so they could share what they want to share. But as far as so with the dancing, let me see. Okay, so how do we meet? Let me see. You probably remember better than me, or maybe you'll spark it, and then I'll remember then. So I was a young one
Yeah.
then, I guess, right?
Yeah, you were definitely young, man. And it was of course the first time was Jason's studio, and his mother had a studio. I think it probably was used for ballet or other type of contemporary dance. And
Mm-hmm.
being, a son, he was able to do what he do there. And the first time that I actually got to the studio was really because some guys from the circus, they were holding an audition there. And
Mm.
you know, no, 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 no. My apologies. That's what after the fact, because Jason wouldn't have been able to call me if that was the case. But
Mm.
it was Mike Watson and all of them, a jam that was going on out there. They got me to come out to the studio. And of course, Jason having the studio, of course, and me trying to, get back into dance. That was like my introductory there. I think one time I went to the studio and Zapper, they call
Mm-hmm.
it HBO crew.
Yeah.
They were actually making a commercial there in another part of the studio, like another part of the corner. And I saw for the first time that there were dancers that were trying to do things. And so of course I got to know Zapper and them too. And then it was like a whole network of dancers that were trying to find their place. And then of course after that, like even with Zapper and the HBO crew, we start seeing jams like Loose Screws and
Mm-hmm.
the Deuce is Wild
Which
and
is wild. Yeah.
yeah, all of those things came, you know, um, later. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, I'm glad that I was there at the beginning of it. Matter of fact, by the time I came on the dance scene too, Mike Watson, he was already known for winning Break Atlanta,
Yeah.
and the Break Atlanta may have taken place maybe either 1 or 2 more years after that. I think the last Break Atlanta might have been Break Atlanta 6. That
Mm-hmm.
probably was held around 2006, and of course Mike Watson won that one also. I
Right.
remember him going up. I remember him going up against the kid J Rock.
Okay.
He
And
came out of
the
town.
beautiful thing is we got like receipts and things as they say nowadays. So like
Mhm.
uh if you go to YouTube, you feel me, that's where a lot of some stuff, you feel me, wasn't captured, but some stuff was captured, you know.
Right.
Like so we had if you want to look up Mike Watson versus Legend, feel me, just to see what was really going on at that time.
Yeah.
Mike Watson was representing Atlanta, and Legend was representing
And
LA.
that was at
And Legend
and that
ended
was
up
held at
becoming
Jason's studio too, right? That was
exactly, and
that was in
Legend
Jason's
ended up
studio.
becoming Legend the Beat Slayer,
Yeah.
which those that's in the dance world, they know about Legend the Beat Slayer as far as just the beat, you know, being a dance music producer. But then who were hosting these battles, you had Poppin' Pete and Skeeter
Right.
Rabbit. And
That's
from
right.
what I know, this was Skeeter Rabbit's last event before he transcended. You
Right.
know, so me being a little one in the crowd, you know, about 9, 10, always looking younger than I was, you know, but just kind of just soaking it in, you know, but then to fast forward and be like, nah, like y'all could go look this up on YouTube to see this experience, you know, to kind of see the experience. And then also if you know, fortunately, and I'm glad, if you want to check out, see Mickey Mouse, at least like a little glimpse of him. He was in the Yin Yang Twins video called "What's Happening," I believe. What's happening? Whatever. Boom and
I got a
tone. Oh, you do?
yeah, I got a clip of me and Mickey Mouse when we actually did something at Georgia State and
Uh-oh.
Mick, yeah, and I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and upload it. I think they got like maybe the page called like
Yeah,
What's Popping or something like that.
yeah.
And I just see that before his name really gets swept up under the rug. But I do have a clip of me and him and him doing a couple of his signature moves, because he
Mm-hmm.
was, because he was a ladies' man, he was a crowd pleaser, an
Yeah,
entertainer,
yeah.
and you know, he, um, and this was around the time when they used to do the Black Expo and all of this type of stuff down at the CNN Center.
Gotcha.
And yeah, but we're actually doing a performance together, on stage at Georgia State in one of their auditoriums. And I think I'm gonna just go ahead and upload
Yeah,
that.
man.
So that would
And
have been,
I'm gonna need to see that, man. We need to
yeah,
see
yeah,
that.
that gonna be back around, and that was back in the year around 2005, 2006 as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So basically, cause like I was telling you, this is we live, but I'm really more so focused on this being a pre-recorded. So I'm gonna save this and put this on my YouTube. But what I was thinking was starting the video off with a clip of our performance back in '06. You feel me? The one that you had put together and sent me. And
Yeah.
so my question is, if I'm not, was that the first time we met, or did we meet before then?
Uh, Um, Honestly, I believe that was the first time.
Yeah.
Jason had you show up. All we knew is that we was doing something for semi church. So we were family friendly event, and
Mhm.
Jason had you introduce you, and yeah, because I like to believe that was the first time that me seeing you dance, and I was just amazed at how clean you were and how you remember because I forced the video
Yeah.
back on you. I like look,
Yeah.
every time I was well when we finally reunited and you let me know that you remembered me out at the park. That was our
Yeah.
right.
Right.
It was
Right. Right.
yeah
That
it
was
was
like, what was that, like
less
2019?
yeah, it was where it was when everybody was still dealing with the COVID. What was it? Love Under Violence, the thing that me and
I
yeah,
think by like
because
2019,
yeah,
2020.
and we got to talking and stuff like that. And I told you I had an old clip, and I finally sent it to you. Um, that that performance, I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
that's why I said when you're in doubt or confused, you can always go back to that particular clip because of how
Mhm.
clean and um, how well grounded you were, in your dance moves,
Mm.
and that's kind of bring everything full circle because a lot of times, man, when in the dance world when we really don't see ourselves or we kind of lose uh, track as to the direction, where we at. It's always nice to have something where you can go back to before you get
Sure.
too far out there and go on astray. So I'm hoping that video helped,
For
you
sure. Nah, for sure.
as you continue to evolve. Right.
Indeed, indeed. Nah, because it's one thing like it's like okay, it's it's like okay, the skills, of course, they always level up, but there are them times when you really hit your performance, no matter
Right.
what skill set, and it's like you can always learn from that. Of like, okay, beyond the moves I'm doing, how am I executing them? Feel me?
Right.
How is the crowd receiving them? And at any level of skill, you feel me? You can have that moment, and so that right there was like one of the earliest captures of me in that moment, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That was a good
and
moment,
so,
man.
yeah, nah, I appreciate
Yeah.
it. It's funny because even when it came to like me doing a little Matrix move, and then you had the little lady like, oh, he doing the Matrix, he doing
Right.
the Matrix.
She was calling all your moves. I was like, it's actually names for those moves. She said, oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's doing the
and
Matrix.
it's
Yeah. So
but
that's because
that's how you
you had
know.
the crowd. Yeah, you had the crowd, man. So yeah, you should
Indeed.
definitely.
So
Have you uploaded that to your. Have you shared it
yeah,
with public yet?
yeah,
Or
it's on here.
okay, okay,
I got it
okay.
on
Yeah.
Instagram. I'll send it to you. But
That's
yeah, I
great.
got it on here on Instagram, and like I said, I'm gonna put it at the beginning of this video
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
YouTube.
it's great, man. Yeah, it's great,
Yeah,
man.
so
You didn't came a long way, bro, and I see you're still going places with it.
oh,
So that's what's
oh
up.
man, this is really like that was like a beautiful introduction, like a beautiful precursor. Because the beginning, I feel like is really like about to happen.
Yeah,
I feel like we really, that was preparing, that was training, and that was like, that was like, that was like just the first level, which was the introduction. But even when it comes to just the ideas I have, like I have an idea of having my own dance company, like Alvin Ailey, but it's nothing but like dope freestyle dancers. They
right.
masters in their own styles and stuff, and we tour around, do performances for like schools or corporate events or different things. But it's a theme to it. It's not just us dancing, but it's really showing, the master
But
itself.
but believe it or not, Bruce Lee, his school initiated initially started with that intention.
Mm,
This is why he dismantled it. And initially, Bruce Lee philosophy was teaching you how to express yourself, you through martial arts.
mm-hmm.
And whenever someone came to him and asked him for a lesson, it was one of those things where Bruce Lee be like, "Kick me." You looking at Bruce like, "Hey, that's what I came to you for." But Bruce like, "Kick
Mm-hmm.
me," and depending on how you kick, your angle, he was able to give you a style that could adapt to your body type and what you were comfortable with,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because like he said, the way that he stand, the way he delivered his punch, that was him honestly expressing himself. You may not be comfortable with that.
Mm,
So he and you notice he had men back in the day that he taught like Steve McQueen,
right.
James Coburn, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Danny and Salto. It's all these men got totally different styles, right?
Right.
That's because Bruce Lee taught them how to express themselves. He started from what will work for them.
Mm,
Then someone came along. Now these schools are set up like Jeet Kune Do, right? Bruce Lee's
right.
way of the
Mm-hmm.
intercept fist. If you notice, all of them are trying to stand, hold their fingers, and do like Bruce Lee. That's not what Bruce Lee
Mm,
taught. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
In other words, they turned Jeet Kune Do into karate, which Bruce Lee referred to as fixed positions, meaning that you're being boxed in. And that
Mm.
was not his intention. So that's why he closed his own school. I really don't even know why there would be a Jeet Kune Do school when he closed them down. You know what I'm saying? He,
Yeah.
because people got away from his original intention, his philosophy was trying to teach you. So anybody who's doing Jeet Kune Do, our style wouldn't be the same. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
That's
If you
true.
really learned it for what it really is. I
That's
just
kind of it.
yeah.
Nah, it's just funny
So
'cause
like you're
go
saying,
ahead.
you to me, I'm just saying that because you said it sounded like you said I want to open up a school, I want to teach dance, but people still going to be freely able to dance the way that they do. We just going to try to um, either perfect it,
Hmm.
um, make you more confident. Your foundation would be stronger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the bottom line is that it's not about teaching them to be another clone of you, or
So,
to be a clone of somebody else. We want you to be the best that you can be, so
right.
you
I
can
want
reach your
you
own
to
full potential.
unlock your character.
Right, your own full potential, as they call it. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's great, man. If if you could do something like that, I think that's a great philosophy. I think that's a great mission, that you should
Nah,
definitely pursue.
that's the in the times we in. I feel like we for sure need that because people losing sight of the value. You feel me, of authenticity. You feel me, and being one of
Right.
one. And with this whole, you know, for lack of better terms, clout chasing. You feel me, reality we in. It's like they feel like it's like I get my views doing what he did versus doing what I wanted to do. It's like you know, it's making like an artificial, it's making a counterfeit reality. And my
That's
whole
right.
thing is let's get back to originality, you feel me, and creativity. And the circle that I'm creating is for that. So it ain't about the numbers, it's quality over quantity because at the end of the day, I'd rather have 10 solid people or even two solid people that's giving me the truth than 10 or 100, you feel me, uh fakers,
That's right.
just people that ain't really in it for themselves, but in it for something outside of themselves. Um,
And not and not to stay on the dance thing too much, because I know it's other things you want to ask me about, but I will say that the biggest thing with the dance community that any dancer could lose themselves is when they start worrying about what other people think.
mm,
It's nothing worse than coming up with dance moves and dance styles, and then when someone asks you, um, let me see, he said, "What's up? What's the combo? Who is that? Who is Jr.? Oh, okay, that's my man Jason. Okay, cool. What's up, brother? Um, the thing is that when you're worrying about what other people think, you could come up with something that's great, and because the people are not responding to it, you decide that you're going to throw it away. You
mm,
follow? So
mm,
it's and it could be the next level. It could be the next best thing that's going to happen to the whole dance industry or the dance platform itself.
for
So
sure.
I got in the way of not worrying about what people think or trying to create moves that people say, oh, woo and ah. Whenever I dance, I'm honestly expressing myself. I'm dancing the way it makes me feel. And even when I used to go to or be at dance battles and I'm looking at dancers and sometimes they'll be, in deep thought either before they dance or after they dance, I'm always asking them how they feel
Mm,
because,
mm,
it's nothing worse than going out there trying to do what you think the people want to see.
mm,
Just enjoy that moment, live in that moment, do what you feel. And if they don't like it, don't worry about it. At least you did what you feel. Most dancers that do win battles, that's because they did them. Most of
for sure.
us that when we know we are qualified to win dance battles, it's because you got away from what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And the audience will pick up on your unauthenticity. You know what I'm saying? They're like, that's not him. He
Yep.
he don't that's not even him. That don't even look right coming from him. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? So you
Yep.
wanna is you like I say, I always say that it's the dancer that's the most confident that wins.
Yep.
The one that's
That's
the
the
most
truth.
confident.
That's
right? It's not that
true.
he's a
Like
better
even the big,
dancer, right?
it's
Go ahead.
like the master that displays their mastery the best.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's
So
confidence.
what?
If yeah, if you get away from worrying about what people think, you know, you eliminate shooting yourself in the foot. You
Mm,
eliminate being boxed in, stagnating your own self. If you just go
so
ahead and just honestly express yourself, that's
so
Bruce
I
Lee
got a
thing. I
question.
I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
So what would you say? And now we finna get how do I want to say? We finna just move with the conversation. So, what would you say is the difference between the dancers or the masters, the dance masters? Because I look at it just like how you brought up Bruce Lee, like you feel me, a kung fu master, a tai chi master, a popping master, a gliding master. It's the same. So we still mastering ourselves, our bodies. We just may not use it to hurt somebody, but we can use these same moves to hurt somebody. Just like in martial arts, it's for you to learn and defend yourself, but you're not out looking for fights.
I
You
give you
know,
this.
so
I give you this. When you speak about any master, whatever platform that they're on, what makes them a master is they have gotten away from self. They
mm,
selfless. So
mm,
they're able to
yes,
deal with perspective more so than perceptions. Perception
mm,
is based on your own personal experience. You're looking it through, it's really kind of like a narrow minded view because you're basing it on yourself. In other
yeah,
words, just like the thief, a person who steals all the time, uh, they think that other people are always trying to steal from them
yeah,
too. But I'm like,
yeah,
don't be judging me by your mentality. That's you that's a thief. I'm not a thief. So, or they'll say everybody steals
mm,
because they're a thief. You
mm,
know, that's called perception. Perspective is when you're able to tap into the other person's point of view, or at least try to see it from, their perspective. That means you step
indeed,
outside yourself. And most masters, one of the greatest secrets is just realizing that we are all the same.
indeed,
Depending on depending on how self-indulgent, egotistical, uh, pride, you think that you're unique. You think that you're one of a kind. You think that you're special. That's perception, right? But the
right,
master knows that we are all the same. It's just that we may be going through different things at different times. In other words, I'm using an example like a person who has a loved one that dies. And when that
mm-hmm,
loved one dies, to them, they might make the statement that, man, everybody dying. God, everybody dying. And I'm like,
right,
no, it's people dying all the time. It ain't till that it hit home with you. Now you say everybody is dying. See, they're basing
exactly,
things on their own personal perception, but death is going on all along, like right now, even
mm,
as we speak. But because it hadn't hit home, they totally ignoring it, right?
right,
So,
oblivious,
but like I
yeah,
said, yeah, a master is stepping up outside of himself and just looking at it from, you know, everyone's,
yeah,
the other person's point of view.
yeah. Now
That's
that's
that's what makes them a master. That's all I'm
I
saying.
dig it. All right, so that
Okay.
brings clarity to the question. So, what would you say is the difference between the dancers and or dance masters of then, you feel me, when you first got to Atlanta versus the dancers or and dance masters of today? We could say in Atlanta because we know that's basically the scene that we kind of speaking, on right now.
Mm. Um, I really don't know no dance masters. You know,
Yeah,
um,
once you break it
I
down, I'm over here thinking like that's why I had to say dancers or and.
yeah. I mean, there's a couple of people. Personally, I've always expressed this. I do not like being called an OG.
Hmm.
OG can mean, like original gangster or something like that.
Right,
But, or
right, right.
some people say, Papa Doc, you a legend. I'm sorry, but words like that, when I was coming up, those are words that you use after a person has died. Once
Mm,
they transition, once they left the earth, that person becomes a legend. Don't call me a legend when I'm still alive right now and I'm still evolving. I'm still transforming. You know what I'm saying? I'm still doing it.
All
So
right.
I just
So I
don't.
gotta.
It's like they trying to retire me before my
Well,
time,
because
and I'm not done yet.
we have addressed this offline, but
Okay,
as a as a as a living legend, you are a living legend because I
I
recognize
got you.
myself to recognize you as that. People, but the whole thing is, what I've come to conclude is it's not as real until someone tells you that. Like I'm not saying this like I'm saying I'm that, but people are like, oh, that's the living legend. You feel me? That's so. And when it comes to those
There
who
you
I'm
go.
influenced by, I'm like, well, shoot, they the living legend then, because they the one who influenced me to be this. You know, they were a puzzle piece to get me to the legendary version that I am right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm
So just to play
I,
with the word, because it's
I
all
know,
wordplay
I know,
at the end
but
of the day too in
yeah.
context.
Well, what happens is I remember a statement, and especially when it comes to dance,
Yeah,
I you're gonna hear me quote Bruce Lee a lot because I
yeah.
won't enter Bruce Lee movies. You know, I was living when articles and everything was floating around with him.
Mm,
So again, I guess I've been privy to a lot of information that I just have on cap like that. So I really felt like, I knew him. I just never got a chance to meet him, in the flesh. So there were
yeah.
interviews. There were, it's like he was more accessible, than just dealing with him from a
And you
movie
were on
screen. But
Earth the same time he was on Earth, just to
right,
throw that out there.
yeah.
So the
Matter of
energy,
fact,
yeah.
yeah. Matter of fact, when he died, well, I don't even want to say how old I was, but God, man. Well, I was 10 when he died, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
was very, very much aware of Bruce, in his movies, his philosophy and everything. And that's more likely what I was into, his philosophy. I know the books, I was familiar with the literature that Bruce Lee was influenced by. He used to be into Krishnamurti.
Mm,
He did study Taoism. He, and when I'm into a person, or if I get interested in a person, whatever they're getting to, I'm going to study it also. Because
right.
if it was good enough for them, then it's good enough for me.
Mm,
And and then I can see a lot of things that we may have limited to that particular person, like Bruce Lee.
mm-hmm.
You said no, well, Bruce Lee didn't come up with that. It really was Krishnamurti, or it really was in Taoism, right?
Exactly.
You can see,
Exactly.
and that's what he was, manifesting. But
He
if
was just another messenger, or not just another,
right,
but he was another messenger.
right, and he would never, if people had a chance to ask about a lot of things, he had said, no, 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 I didn't make that up. I got that from such and such. But most people
Indeed.
just hear it, and they're just limited to him, and they think it was like his idea. I'm not taking anything away from him because he was very good at um, the reason why he came up with Jeet Kune Do was that he he studied all the basic martial arts forms all the way down to fencing, boxing,
Mm,
and he was grabbing what was useful, and he combined it,
yeah.
and then it became Jeet Kune Do, right? And it's like he was getting the garbage out of the table. He's like, okay, I like that, but I don't like that. It was just trying to get from point A to point B. It's what they use now in wushu. If you ever seen the movie The One, and
Mm-hmm.
Jet Li was talking about getting from one point to another in the shortest distance,
Yeah.
that's what wushu,
That's one of
right? Instead of going
my favorite movies.
right,
I ain't gonna lie.
right, and that was the first time in particular that wushu was ever done on screen.
Right.
Which is like a circular form of Tai Chi.
Yes.
It was a very
Yes.
hidden art,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm familiar with that too. Wushu. So yeah, but yeah, man, it's just that as far as the whole mastery thing and the legend thing, I brought up Bruce to say when people used to call Bruce Lee a superstar, he was pretty much offended by that. He was like, man, I'm not a superstar. Just he said, I feel more better if you just say, hey, that guy, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
I'm just a great actor.
Yeah.
He said,
Respect.
because that
Yeah.
word superstar. So in the words of Bruce,
Right.
like words like living legend and all that, that to me, that's like an illusion,
Mm.
basically. Those words an illusion, and you can lose yourself. You can get caught up in that. I like to just be respected as as a teacher. If someone want to call me a mentor, if someone even wanted to say, hey, that brother, you know what I'm saying, he got a lot of
Indeed.
good,
So would you say
information.
it kind of keeps you humble in a way, or not really, or grounded?
I said grounded
Yeah,
because the word humble is
grounded,
really
because
big.
I don't like
Yeah,
that
the
either.
word, yeah,
Look,
yeah,
we both was like, I don't know about that word, but nah,
yeah. You look
grounded,
humble.
yeah,
It's like belittling yourself. So no,
yeah,
I'm not
grounded for
humble by
sure.
far. But yeah, but definitely, yeah. I guess it's a way of staying grounded. But
Indeed.
it's and because I'm still evolving, I'm saying to people that I'm still growing.
Right. I'm
Right?
just ahead of y'all.
Yeah, I'm
I'm just ahead of
still
you.
evolving.
I'm not. I'm right there. I'm you. I'm you. I'm just ahead of you. Like
Right.
I started a couple rounds before you did, but I'm the same.
And guess what? If my philosophy changed later on, I can just say that that's when I was younger and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know any better. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Because the only thing constant in the universe is change.
Indeed.
People shouldn't be bragging about being the same way they were 25 years ago, especially when you're
Facts.
talking about society. You got um, trees and leaves, they come and they go. You know what I'm saying? Grass, we cut it
Indeed.
and new grass grow. Everything is evolving, everything is changing. That's the fact that exists in the universe. So when I hear
Mm.
people, but it's kind of sad because it's really kind of like over here in America and the way Western civilization has been set up. But a lot of cultures will know. Like for instance, I'm sorry to say this, but a black person, they could brag about being on a job 25 or 30 years. If you got an
Yeah.
Asian that comes to America and they work a job, they never they're gonna work like maybe 2 to 3 years at the most
Mm-hmm.
before
Mm-hmm.
they move on to something else because their whole thing was just learning the template of the job. And then they're gonna take it back to Chinatown, right? And they're
Right.
gonna duplicate it.
And
So they
unfortunately, they'll mess around and save up more than, you feel me, uh, Jerome, who been there for 30 years. They'll save
right,
up more in that 2 3 year time because they got a game plan that's beyond that system. You
right.
feel me? That's beyond, you know, that comfort, of another man taking care of you
Yeah, yeah.
as a
Yeah,
man.
while they there, they just learning the American way. It's because
Exactly.
they
It's like paid
they about
internship.
right. They're about producing, and manufacturing. But then that's another part of the system that we're going to have to know about, far as distributing and retailing. So
Indeed.
that's what we're going to do. So we're going to assimilate ourselves in society. We're going to see what they like and dislike. We're going to see how they execute, and then they're going to take that back to
Hey,
the Chinatown, and before you
I
know
don't
it,
see no problem with it, man. Can't be mad at him, man.
yeah, you can't.
Can't be mad at him.
I just wish that we as a people that we follow that same template because they are not
Yeah,
all in agreement with each other. They
indeed.
are, they don't all share the same philosophy
Right.
within the China or the Asian or Oriental culture. They do got different schools of thoughts, but they would never get online like we do on social media,
Yep.
and they would never brag about how disunited or how they just don't get along.
Right.
Only we will do stuff like that. So, of
Right.
course, if I'm speaking to people, I try to speak on things that we can agree on. I try to find out that what we can agree on,
Right.
and then it's like having two pieces of bread. I give you one, and then we both move up to the next level at the same time.
Right. The funny thing for me though is, and this is just where I'm at with it, like I come to realize the we is those who want to know. Those who don't want to know, those who don't want to learn, have knowledge of self, or those who don't want to be educated. Not those, because the system made us not educated on purpose, but it's those that don't want to know and don't care to know. Them the ones that I'm like, okay, y'all go over there. You feel me? We over here building this culture because I personally, it's like it's a thing at this point where it's called cognitive dissonance, and if they're too far gone, then they can easily be infiltrated, and I can't risk that. So I'm only saying that to say when it comes to we're on the way, it's just we can't be looking at everybody making it. We have to.
I'm a,
It's really like,
I share to you what I found. Um, when I was younger, I used to be part of the NGE, Nation of Gods and Earth, the
hmm
5% Nation.
hmm
And we have a statistic. They usually say, I think you may have heard people like Erica Badu, try and
right,
say it,
right,
that 85, you're dealing with 100% of the people. Out of
Mm-hmm.
85% of the people, they're supposed to be blind, deaf, and dumb to knowledge of self. 10% are your concealers, and they be like your teachers and politicians and people that hold in authority positions. And then the 5% is supposed to know the truth. Well, in my life experience, I find out that it's really the other way around. I think 85% of the people that we once referred to as blind, deaf, and dumb, I say they do know the truth. The problem is them exercising it. And so a lot of people will speak on things and or they act like they don't know things. That way they won't be held responsible for it.
That's,
The word that's in my head when you talk about they don't want to do it or whatever, that's the word they call ignorance. Ignorance means to ignore. The root word ignore the facts. And so as long as they ignoring, they feel like, oh, matter of fact, they got a saying, ignorance is bliss,
yeah.
right? So they figure that
Shoot.
if I ignore it, if I don't take heed to it, then I'm no longer, have to be
Yeah.
responsible for
It's
it.
like choosing not to know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So you don't have the responsibility of knowing.
yeah, yeah.
Uh.
Um,
But
I,
it
I
say
don't know
we
how much.
perish for lack of knowledge, though.
Yeah, I don't know how much more time you got, but you said you wanted to ask a few more
Uh,
things. Or you wanted to get on top of
yeah. I
something
mean,
else.
let me see. I did want to. It's funny, yeah, because I didn't really take account when I started, but I did. I guess I wanted to. So I'll probably ask something, but we're gonna probably bookmark it and go into a part two. So leave it on a cliffhanger,
Okay.
if we will. You feel me? So I know you said you mentioned about the philosophies of your teaching of your learn. How do I want to say the philosophies of Bruce Lee and how you saw him as like a teacher, spiritual teacher, if you will. And then you also mentioned about the nation of gods and earths, the 5% nation. Um, so with those two, like I guess, schools of teaching, um, let me see, how do I want to word this?
I
Like,
just I just know better now.
yeah,
I just know better. I still can assimilate myself in any of those things because
okay,
um, my philosophy now is that there's truth in all those schools of thoughts. The problem comes when somebody tries to single them out and say this is all you need. So
right,
if you got the
right.
Muslim and you got the Christian, and the Muslim think that oh, just being in Islam, that's all you need, or the
Mhm.
Christian, it's just Christianity. That's the truth, the whole truth. That's where we run into problems.
Right,
I'm saying that all of them have something to offer, but not any of them is the total truth. You
facts.
still have to seek knowledge, as they say, from the cradle to the grave. That's a Quranic
Mm-hmm.
quote. Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave.
Okay, that's deep. Cause even yeah, cause what was I finna say? What we don't realize is that's when we okay, the enemy works. One of his main game plans is divide and conquer. So the fact that we're disagreeing, the fact that we're not able to, look past differences is uh the enemy working.
Yeah,
It's the enemy system. I like to call it Agent
yeah,
Smith. You feel me? The
yeah.
mental program
Right.
of
See,
disorganization,
right. So if we got back to the basic truth,
dysfunctionalization.
yeah, if we got back to the basic truth and the foundation of whatever a person's school of thought is, I can pick Christianity and Islam, for instance. Both of them, to me, are saying the same thing. Both of them
Yeah.
believe that depending on how you treat people in life, depending on how you live your life, you're going to go to a place called paradise. Um, the only difference is that the Muslim, the Christians might say that Jesus came down as a God came down as a man, and they call him Jesus, and the Muslims saying no, he didn't. But if you set aside those differences and get just back into the basic principles of how you live your life, it's going to determine your spiritual growth and what's going to happen to you when you pass. They're still the same. So what happens is that we got men that come along and they'll grab these philosophies, and they start to add on things.
Mm,
Then start to come the traditions or the customs. I call them costumes because they're gonna dress a certain way too.
yeah,
Costumes. It's still the same word, and
indeed.
and all of a sudden they're gonna see themselves as different, and we're gonna do it this way.
Mm,
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong where a person want to exercise their creativity, but if we got more into perspective where you can look and see it, for what it really is and get back to the basic principles of it, you can see that we're all saying pretty much the same thing.
right. Instead of it being the sixes versus the nines, we just realized that they're the same thing, just different
Right.
perspectives.
Yeah. It's yeah. It's
Nah,
like the
that's sharp.
it's like the nine is the six up down or the six is the nine upside down.
Hmm.
So it depends on how you look at it. Yeah.
Exactly. But nah, so that's beautiful. Yeah. Now y'all see, well, maybe y'all don't, but this is why I wanted to do this because, you know, there are individuals uh that God sent in my life, feel me, and that I get some of my cool and some of my intel and some of my, ism from, and it's like I feel like at this point I want to share, this truth because y'all thought this was just gonna be a conversation about dance. That's why I like it's about dance and self mastery because they kind of go hand in hand. You're dealing with two masters who take the journey seriously, and the dance shows it, you know, and other things. But I really want to say this because, being that, I consider you as my mentor, I feel like it's only fitting that we also can use this platform to introduce one of your mentors or, I don't know if you've had any more than one, but I would say someone that, influenced you and a lot of people, but I would love to have you share your story because me knowing you, you come in with the truth. And like you said, with the whole definition of mastery is selfless, it's beyond you. That means you ain't finna be saying stuff that feeds your ego. You finna keep it real. So with that being said, who are we talking about? Who am I talking about?
I know. I know you're working your way to Malachi Z. York, Dr. Malachi York, and yes, he's definitely been a big influence on my life. I probably spent a good 30 years of my being, with him, around him. Um,
Physically, y'all, in the flesh.
yeah,
Thought
you know what
about
I'm
that.
saying? Yeah, as far as teachings. And of course, I first came around, I knew of York since like around 84. And somewhere, like I said, around 85, 86, I was in and I left the music career. I had just did a record, by the way. I was known as MC Rockwell. And between that, by the time I came across York, he was going by Imam Isa, and they had an Islamic community, up in Brooklyn. I remember going up to Brooklyn, Bushwick Avenue, to take my Shahada in the Hall of Knowledge. That's the place where the questions and answers sessions were.
Hmm.
And I don't know, man. I just got a hook in my nose, literally. I used to wear a nose ring, um, and just been stuck there pretty much ever since. And you know, because he himself was such, definitely a master. I consider him my spiritual guide and master teacher. My spiritual guide and master teacher is very physical. When some people talk about a spiritual guide, they kind of deal with hunches and stuff like this.
Hmm.
I'm just glad that I was able to meet my spiritual guide in the flesh,
Indeed. That's
and
what's up. That's
and,
what's up.
and his whole intention was to groom me to be come as a spiritual guide to others.
I say
Yeah. Mm.
it is so. You feel me? That's what you are to me. And yeah, well, like I said, for
But
me
it
it
took,
was
but
more about like this.
it took a lot of work.
Okay,
It
okay. So
took
I would
it.
say we can, our next build, our next conversation, we could dive into that if you want. If
Yeah,
you want to share. would give more into that bag. I just, like I said, just kind of introducing the people, to us, but then also giving them, now that they got a cool introduction, we could dive deeper into us because a lot of people know us for what we've done, and different things, but some people don't really, or they think they know us, but some people really don't know our story, you know,
Yeah.
and to be
Okay.
able to share it because also it may be able to help, the next and help the youth, at the end of the day. Because my main thing is, and I was gonna save this, but I would say, maybe the next time of the conversation we could speak on why would it be important for today's Black American to know about, the master teacher and his works.
Yeah, that's
Why
right.
is it important and why is it that we don't know? So we could kind of
Yeah.
push on those, energies and whatnot.
Okay. That's peace.
Indeed. So yeah, so that's I feel like that's cool little bookmark we at now. We was able to share a lot. Like I said, I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna rewatch this just to dive into certain things and yeah, it was refreshing.
Okay.
Indeed. Well yeah, that's about it for now.
Okay.
Yeah, enjoy the day, enjoy the vibes, man. Um and I'm just, that's my little message to the people. Things can always be worse. So it's always a reason to stay blessed. And
Okay.
yeah, until next time.
Okay. All right. Peace, bro.
Peace.